lot of it is just what's in the question itself, and the idea of just being proactive. Don't wait till you have a problem to address it, and that involves looking for invasive annual grasses with field work, with whatever means necessary, in places that you may not have otherwise, that are potentially at risk, even if they just have early stages of invasion. So that's not something that is always in a work plan or a budget to do that kind of work, but that is really what it takes, is to catch these things early. And that takes, like I said, diligent inventory and survey work. In some cases, remote sensing at large scales might be appropriate to capture some of these things. The other aspect of that is just identifying what your core habitat is. And that's a key first step.
I'm not sure we fully know the answer to this. To be honest, we're trying something new. Here's what we do know. What we've been doing for a century isn't working. We need to change our plan. And so what we've done here is really turned our past approach on its head and say, instead of going to the worst places first, let's go to the best places that are vulnerable and try to keep them from succumbing to that invasion. So we're going to have to monitor and be adaptive in our management to learn as we go and adjust, because we will be wrong about some things. But what gives me confidence is we are really leaning into the basic principles of invasive species management and like landscape ecology that have taught us that, it's much more effective to tackle these problems early and in large scale areas where we still have a chance of keeping it from conversion.
First and foremost, prevention, right? We've got to maintain and increase that resistance to further, or we want to prevent that resistance to new invasion. That requires us to know your site. You've got to know that location. You've got to identify any existing invasions within or nearby and aggressively manage those current infestations within that core, because you want to reduce that invasive annual grass pressure and seed source. And then we have to work on prevention and then building that resistance so that it can stay as core. And that requires a lot of other things in my mind, in the sense of you really do have to then start to look at past and future land use. How does that land use affect the native plant community? Look at those basic prevention, best management practices, and address vectors and pathways for invasion to come in, and then work with partners to address those invasions if they do come in very early and quickly, to maintain that area as a core.